the older I get, the more I'm realizing, and again, there's some days where you wake up and you're just in a mood or whatever happened the day before, whatever you're stressing about. But I mean, honestly, 5 to 6 days a week, I'm waking up and I'm just like, Lord, thank you for the gift that is this day. Yeah. And so that disposition of gratitude, it informs the way you go about the day. Yeah. Because when you're grateful for the day, what you do is you don't just endure the day, you can attack the day. Like I'm going, I got something to do. And I've got an opportunity to get it done. That God has renewed the lease on my breath. Yeah. One more day to be able to act upon whatever He has put me on this earth to do.
Life can be fast-paced, strenuous, and flat-out overwhelming. Life transitions and taboo topics can make it hard to catch your breath. Welcome to Breathe, a podcast that enables you to slow down, get your bearings, and engage in real conversations where no topic is off limits. Breathe is presented by Breath of Life, hosted by David Person and speaker-director Pastor Debleaire Snell.
Welcome to Breathe. I'm David Person, and it is good to be with you here. This is 2025.
2025 is here.
2025.
Oh my goodness.
New year.
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed.
New start.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
All right.
Pastor Nugent.
Yes, indeed.
We're glad to be here.
We are.
This is exciting. We're kicking off the new year with a series, and this is in tandem with what you're doing at the church.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
We're doing this series on leap year. Tell folks about what you're doing at the church and how that ties in.
Yeah. So, we're kicking off 2025 with a new teaching series, a 21-day campaign under the theme Leap Year. Many of us know we just released or re-released a book entitled Leap Year. And its subtitle is The Springboard to the Year You've Been Waiting For. And really what it's designed to do is to just put some fertilizer in place to allow us to experience a variety of types of leaps. Many times, our growth can be slow and it can be imperceptible. But I believe that when there is pointed, focused intentionality and prayerfulness undergirding some of our efforts, I believe that we can experience some leaps in some particular areas of life.
Absolutely.
And so, as we kind of gather on Mondays, there's some things and areas where we want to talk about some spaces where we should be experiencing some leaps.
Yeah.
And one of the things about the book Leap Year is that it is not based upon circumstance. It's not based upon luck. It is based upon decision. And I think that when we can really harness our decisions, and then we can put some structures and some processes and places that help undergird the decisions. And we move from just making that decision as a point of mental assent, but to really move into implementation.
Right.
I believe we're able to experience great leaps in a variety of ways. And I'm excited about it.
So I'm hearing a number of things. I'm hearing optimism first and foremost.
Oh, yeah.
I'm hearing intentionality. But I'm also hearing faith. Would you say that's a good sort of description of what is embedded in this leap year concept?
Yeah, and honestly, I think all of those things are completely tied in. I think optimism is a byproduct of faith. I don't really think you can be optimistic if there is no faith concept. Even if you're not a Christian, like even people don't realize non-Christians practice faith. They apply it differently.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I think that even when we talk about the intentionality, the Bible makes it clear that faith without works. Of course, is dead. Yeah. And so all those things, they tie in together so that whenever you see something that is impactful, anything that is fruitful, anything that is making a difference, at the core of those things is optimism, intentionality, and faith. And so those are themes that are certainly tied into the book. And so we're hoping that you're participating in our 21 days. We're starting just started January the 5th.
That's right.
Going through the 26th. And each and every morning here on our Breath of Life YouTube page, Monday through Friday at 6, Saturdays and Sundays at 8 a.m.
That's right.
That's good. Now, is that also going to be on Facebook?
On Facebook too. Yes, okay, yes. On our Breath of Life Facebook page as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So for those of you who sleep in a little bit,
you can catch it anytime. Oh yeah. Everybody's not a morning person. Yeah, I mean, some of us wake up, man, and the morning time is our time.
Listen, morning time is the time.
If you're a mid-morning person, early afternoon person, we want to make it available to you.
Speak to everybody. That's right. That's right.
That's it.
All right. So we're going to kick off this the podcast iteration of the Leap Year Project with taking a look at gratitude. Mm-hmm. It is our first leap.
Gratitude leap.
Why did you want to start with gratitude?
Man.
You know, because I think gratitude informs so much of our outlook on life. And I think that without a healthy, robust outlook, I don't think you make any meaningful leaps. And I think that a part of what governs and informs our outlook, I think there needs to be a disposition of gratitude.
Right.
And I think that that's where I wanted us to begin as we look at 2025.
You know, as I was looking at the lineup for the month and I saw gratitude first, I actually was saying to myself, for somebody that's watching or listening, gratitude is going to come as a surprise. Why would I need a leap in gratitude?
Right.
And I think therein lies the necessity of the conversation, because gratitude is something that it's a baseline. If you don't have gratitude, there's just a number of things that you will gloss over, you will not see, you will take for granted. Gratitude for the fact that you have another day allows you to take that day seriously.
Yep.
And in order to take the day seriously, then you begin to plan for the day. You are appreciative of the fact that I have another opportunity. And if you're more structured and principled and practiced and planned, this is the base for taking a leap. And so I think gratitude is a great place for us to begin.
So And what you just said was so critical. So real talk. You know, everybody wakes up in a mood every now and then, right? But I'll be honest with you, most days I wake up and I say, Lord, thank you for the gift that is today. I think, I don't know, maybe it's the pastor, where just so many funerals and walking with people through end-of-life scenarios. Like literally, I was in the hospital yesterday. And
it's been a season. It's been a season.
And you know, they're dealing with this flu that's been going around, older person. And she just talked about how if I can just get home, the things I want to do. There was just this, innate value for each and every day. And it's funny because I think it's somewhere in the 90th division of the Psalms where it talks about, where it says, teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. And honestly, I think wisdom begins with the understanding, this fundamental truth, that my days actually are limited. They aren't guaranteed. I don't have that many more to waste, even if you're in your 20s or your 30s, because you don't really know what it is. So I just think that, you know, I can't really be productive with the day. I can't really be fruitful with this day if I'm just enduring the day. If I'm just existing during the day.
Making it through.
If I'm just, if I'm facing this day like something like, man, I gotta get up. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you don't gotta get up. You got to get up. You see what I'm saying? Like, no, like today, like, man, the Bible makes it clear. Jeremiah says, man, each day, brand new mercies. Unsealed compassion. Like those are embedded in every day that we wake up. And so I'm not like trying to be like chipper, happy-go-lucky, annoying person, but I do think that I'll just speak for me. The older I get, the more I'm realizing, and again, there's some days where you wake up and you're just in a mood or whatever happened the day before, whatever you're stressing about. But I mean, honestly, 5 to 6 days a week, I'm waking up and I'm just like, Lord, thank you for the gift that is this day. And so that disposition of gratitude, it informs the way you go about the day. Because when you're grateful for the day, what you do is you don't just endure the day, you can attack the day. Like I'm going, I got something to do. And I've got an opportunity to get it done. That God has renewed the lease on my breath. One more day to be able to act upon whatever he has put me on this earth to do.
See,
Purpose.
that immediacy, the immediacy of it, recognize. I think it's unfortunate that, and it holds true, that we only recognize what we have when we've lost it.
Yep.
You know, when you talk to that lady in the hospital, we at home we have a refrigerator that has water. You get water from the fridge, right?
Yeah.
And the filter broke, so that the water no longer came from the fridge. So for a good 2 weeks until we could get a service guy to come in and repair that thing, we had to boil water, buy water. And I'm telling you, when that thing was fixed, you should have seen it. All four of us lined up at the fridge getting water, saying, "Thank you, God." You no longer take for granted that this water is here and you can get it freely, easily, because it was taken from us. And that absence made you recognize its power.
Real talk. So, and see, this is why gratitude needs to be a discipline for the believer. So, David and I, just before we came on air, we're talking about over the holidays, we both were touched with illness. So, like Christmas week, I mean, like I spent most of that time in quarantine. I had this flu, y'all, and I don't really get sick like that. I mean, I'm usually able to kind of walk through or even work through. This joint, I got TKO'd with the flu over the holiday. I mean, standing 8 count, brother. I was just like, I didn't want to leave the ring, doc. I was down. And it's crazy because, like, man, so I guess I'm one of those people, like, when you get sick, my wife, she talks about how husbands, when they get sick, how we just be down and out, just so worn out, man. But it's funny because, like, just inhaling and exhaling. I mean, just cough-free days. You see what I'm saying? Just like there are just so many things that we consistently take for granted until those things are withdrawn in a temporary way, or for some in a lasting way. And so I just think that even something like health, honestly, there may be a number of different factors in life that may not be going well for you, right? Financially, it may be tough. Maritally, it may be tough. Professionally, it may be tough. But I'll be honest with you. If your body is functioning like it is supposed to function, or I just honestly, every pain-free day that we have, it is a reason and a cause for great celebration and gratitude. Because honestly, pain, man, just, it can change the way you see the world. I think I've said on this podcast, I think the one thing that probably is the greatest thief of faith or even the belief in God is prolonged, intense pain. But I just think that every pain-free day that you have, if you're having a pain-free day today, like it is a reason and a cause for gratitude. So I just think that, there's just so many mercies, so many favors, so many blessings that are so constant that it's almost impossible for us to recognize and give thanks for those things. But that's why I think that this gratitude conversation is so critical.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about, you talked about chronic pain, and I think you mean not only physical, but emotional, spiritual pain. There are people that are living in a chronic state of emotional pain. Unresolved hurts. Ongoing challenges. You think about people that are in abusive relationships or children that are growing up in abusive situations. Where do people who are in chronic emotional and spiritual pain, how do they connect with the gratitude concept?
So one of the things I do think is critical for this conversation, have you ever seen on social media where people will kind of update a profile and it says something like feeling grateful? And what we tend to do is we tend to put gratitude or gratefulness in the emotion category.
Oh, wow.
And I think that we've got to kind of get to a place where we don't see gratitude as a feeling, but it is a spiritual discipline. It is an intellectual choice to be able to assess the totality of your life's experience.
My word.
And to be able to say, in the midst of a variety or confluence of difficult things that are touching me, I can recognize that even in the midst of those things, there are causes and reasons for me to be grateful, so that, again, life itself is a reason to be grateful. If I am in emotional pain, but I have physical health, there is a reason to be grateful.
Right.
If I am in physical pain, but emotionally, and I have the support of loved ones and family, there is a reason to be grateful. And so, at the end of the day, this is not a sentimental endeavor. It is an intellectual choice to say, in the midst of these things, I can recognize God's goodness in this area of my life. And even if I'm carrying a heavy load right now, honestly, and it's tough. I mean, this is a tough praise to give, but even recognizing that God is giving me strength for this journey is a cause to be grateful. Recognizing that I am being sustained by the Almighty in the midst of it is a cause for gratitude. Mm-hmm. And so it requires me to look at my life in totality, because this is one of the things I've learned, is that if I look at my life just in segments and I don't see the whole symphony, I will lose faith.
Mercy.
But I think that we've got to look at the totality and recognize that even in the midst of, there are causes and reasons for gratitude.
My. There's a saying that goes, the opportunities you have, or I should say, for the opportunities on the back end of it, the responsibilities you have that sometimes weigh heavy on you, can also be looked at as an opportunity.
Sure.
Meaning, somebody doesn't have the responsibilities you have. Somebody doesn't have the opportunities you have.
Yep.
And while that is a heavy burden you carry, having a lighter burden would mean less opportunity, less reach, less influence, less. And so somebody may look at someone else and say, boy, I really would like to be like David Person. I would really like to be like Pastor Snell. I would really like to be there. But you don't know what comes with that, number one.
That's true.
But then the flip side is somebody who is in a position that is quote unquote coveted must recognize, even in the midst of carrying this heavy burden, there is an opportunity here. I can be grateful for the fact that God has trusted me with this level of influence at this stage. And maybe wherever you are, you can be grateful for that as well. It might not be at the same level you would want it to be, but you can work towards what you would like it to be if you are grateful for where you currently are. And I think this is where the gratitude thing really becomes, again, like I said, that base. Because if you really understand and recognize the opportunity you have today, right? It's Monday, whatever day you're listening to this. If you recognize the opportunity you have today, you will take full advantage of everything that today affords
you.
That's
and,
great.
And
That's
I've
great.
kind of walked with people, who have successfully navigated some of these seasons that you referenced. And one of the keys, or at least just through my personal observation, and some of this is anecdotal in that, and just people I've studied or been close to, the ones who negotiated those spaces well, it's not that they ignored their physical or emotional pain. Like, it's not like, man, I'm just so ethereal and heavily minded that I just have no awareness that I'm going through this. But a big part of the success of their journey was where they chose to focus, where they chose to settle their affections and their thoughts. And a part of like those who have negotiated those spaces is essentially they chose to kind of settle their meditations upon the causes or the reasons to be grateful. And there was an intentional focus on the blessings of God as opposed to life's sorrows and their curses. And I do think that there is something formulaic in that, in saying, okay, man, it's tough, but I'm going to take the time to count my blessings, to number them one by one, and meditate on where I can see God moving, as opposed to, really just dialing my entire focus in on those things that seem not to be moving in this particular season.
Mindset. Well, in the few minutes that we have left, we're talking about this being a leap year, meaning we want to change the trajectory of our lives. We want to see quantifiable progress that is significant. What do you suggest for a person who is struggling with this issue of finding growth and development in the arena of having gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, especially the people who are in, chronically challenging situations.
So this is honestly very practical thing. I don't think you get gratitude in the drive-through lane. I think you get gratitude when you sit down at the table. Meaning, if there is no stillness to your life, if there is no reflection to your life, I do think that gratitude, your life will just constantly be in the hubbub, like hustle, just constantly reacting to variables as they unfold and trying to navigate it. But that's why I think it is good as you start your day. So like even just in my personal prayer life, where I begin before I ask for anything, before I pray for others, is I begin with just giving thanks. Matter of fact, there's nothing, this is not a formula, this is not the key to greater prosperity or anything like that. But one of the things I do is I actually either articulate verbally, or if I'm journaling that day, I'll write down 20 things that I am thankful for. That's the first 20, and it probably takes the first 6 to 8 minutes of my prayer life. I'm just giving thanks for things.
That's good.
Now, the reason I think it is really critical to document like the blessings of God and the things that you are grateful for is it actually is a steroid shot for my faith as I pray. Because as I begin the process of thanking God for X and Y and Z and A and B and C, I am able, one, to recognize, man, whoa, okay, it's tough today, but man, God is good in this regard.
Yes, he is.
God is faithful there. And then I'm seeing the goodness of God. And this is the crazy thing. This is why you got to be grateful. And you need to document your gratitude. Because if you don't document your gratitude, you won't actually be able to recognize how faithful God has been to you in the course of a year. Let me explain to you what I mean when I say that. So there have been some times, like in times past, before I really got serious about documenting the blessings of God, where like something good would happen and I would be thankful, but Gianna would be like, man, bless God, man. She's like, remember, we prayed for that. And it's funny because certain prayers were not always answered immediately, right?
You forget.
Right. You forget that you actually even prayed that prayer. You just move on into whatever it is you're doing and living life, so on and so forth, so that by the time certain things come to pass, like I'm just thinking this great thing just worked out, not realizing that the God of heaven heard me when I prayed, began moving things in a way that I could not see. And at a later point, it was just revealed or it became visible. And I think that there are times where you don't even realize how special you are to God. You won't even recognize that God heard you and that God moved on your behalf if you don't take the time to, number one, document your petitions and then document, the blessings of God once they actually occur. Like literally, real talk, man, it's crazy because like my prayer life, man, every prayer I've prayed has not been answered the way I wanted it to be prayed or the way I prayed it. But honestly, man, when I look at it, God is very faithful. But the only way I'm able to recognize that is because I have a list of things I've been praying for, and I'm taking the time to kind of go back, like that one leper who got healed, and say, man, thank you, for the answer to that prayer. You know what? That financial deficit that was existing then, Lord, you took care of that.
Wow.
That stress, that thing that I was carrying this particular worry about. Wow, you managed that situation.
Wow.
The thing that I was asking you to help me to survive in that week, help me make it through. You know what? I made it through that week. So what I'm saying is I just think that one, reflection is critical.
Yeah.
Documentation is critical. And then I just think that, saying, okay, I'm going to make this a discipline, and I'm not going to wait on the feeling of gratitude. I'm going to make the decision of gratitude, and the feeling is going to always trail the decision. Yeah. It'll never invert it.
Yeah. You create an atmosphere for gratitude to thrive.
Yep.
You're setting the table for gratitude essentially, because you as you mentioned, it's not an emotion. It's something that you will have to decide to be and do. And I think that's absolutely healthy. And you've given a good rubric there. The principle of journaling is one that is lost on modern society and modern culture. Well, I'm seeing a resurgence of it. People
Yeah.
are bringing it
Yeah.
back in little by little in different pieces, but it is absolutely critical. I cannot tell you how impactful it is, especially as a family. When we have our worship in the evening before the kids go to bed, we all talk about some of our prayer requests, and it is a wild experience to go through the week or month and then see God bring that thing back. And you say, man, remember we prayed for this.
Yep.
It is not just a bolstering of faith, but it literally humbles you to know that the God of you, as we sit and do this, God is right here, present, making notes himself, and he's putting together a plan.
Yeah.
And I think that in of itself will cause you to have some gratitude.
Some gratitude, yeah.
Regardless of what you're going through and what you're facing, it'll cause you to really turn yourself towards, all right, okay, I can manage.
Yeah.
I can go another step. I can do another day because I recognize that God is in the trenches with me.
Yeah.
And there's no better place for me to be.
And if I could just add this, so even just in addition to just when you talked about creating a culture of gratitude, I do think that as opposed to just saying, all right, writing down what I'm thankful for, or just saying what I'm grateful for,
Right.
I think you have to manage all of your vocabulary. Like it's hard for me to be grateful in a vacuum.
Yeah.
In this start time of my day, if the rest of my conversation is negative and pessimistic,
That's good.
and downcast.
That's it right there.
And I'm constantly just finding the wrong in every person, in every circumstance, in every situation. I do think that, man, some of us just, we bring the clouds with us wherever we go.
Mercy.
Because we're not selective with our speech. Honestly, there is a lot in both scripture and for those who are Seventh-day Adventists in the writings of Ellen White that just really talks about how we need to guard our words and our language. You need to guard, one, what you are saying to others.
Yeah.
And you need to be really selective about the things you say to yourself. The meditations that you allow to linger and remain attached to you. I mean, honestly, like if you in your mind have already decided, man, today's gonna suck, and like the boss is gonna act silly, and my husband is gonna get on my nerves, and man, my kid's teacher is gonna like if you've decided that already, you're bringing your own doom through the meditations that you allow to abide in your soul, and the words that constantly come out of your mouth. Your words create the atmosphere of faith, or your words issue the atmosphere of faith.
Yeah.
And so I just think that it's hard to kind of have gratitude in this one segment of life. It's got to be a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I think, our words, our thoughts, our meditations, all of that has to be a part of the formula if you're going to really take a gratitude leap. So I think
Gratitude.
reflection, documentation, and selection in thought and in words. I think that is a big first step to having, a major leap in the area of gratitude in 2025.
That's a great summary.
Absolutely.
And that's a good place to end it.
That's a
we're
good
going to
place.
end on a note of gratitude.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of practical ways that you can put that into play in your life and into our lives. And one thing I was thinking about is I think I'm going to start incorporating journaling into my morning prayer. That's something I really haven't done, but I can see the value of that just with what you just said, Pastor. So we're going to do that. And we want to encourage you to, you've listened to the podcast. It's okay to go back and listen to segments if you need to take some notes.
Yeah,
There was a lot of practical information that the pastors shared today. And so I hope you'll do that.
Yeah.
And I hope you also do this. When it gets challenging to find gratitude or find reasons to have gratitude, promise me this. Promise me that you will stop, pray, and breathe.
Breathe is produced by David Person for Breath of Life. Executive producer is Debleaire Snell, and sound engineer is Kirk Nugent. Audio episodes of Breathe can be found on Apple, Spotify, or Google Podcast platforms. For video episodes and extra content, check out the Breath of Life YouTube channel. Breath of Life is faith-based content, resources, and programs from a contemporary urban perspective for those looking for hope and guidance. We believe that every breath we take is a testimony that God is consistent, that He loves us, and has a plan for our lives.